Okay, so we're going to start with what a referent is. Yeah. Hi. Hey, welcome to Math 10C. So referent, what other word reminds you of the word referent? Reference or refer. So it's an item that an individual uses as a measuring unit in estimating. You're using it as a reference. Okay? So when things are small, what could you use on your body as a reference? Your pinky, and what would it measure? A centimeter. Okay? If you wanted to measure something, so you're writing in your notes, we're on page 2 in the chart there. You know, write as big as small as you want. Yeah. Right. We're gonna just, oh, actually, what else? We could put something else in there. What else could you use? Something really, really small. Your fingernail. Fingernail, what is that? A millimeter. Okay. The thickness, yeah, the thickness of a fingernail. Thickness of a fingernail. It doesn't make sense. Thickness of you got the point. Right? Okay, medium, something medium-ish. I know, it counts as medium, like the desk length or your height. Your height, you could do so what could you use your hand for? Haha. What's a decimeter? 10 centimeters. Decimeter. DM. Should I write decimeter beside that? You should know those, but that's why we're reviewing it. What else could you use? Is that a meter? Haven't you seen a meter stick before? Haven't you gotten hit by a meter stick? Have you been attacked by one of these yet? Today's your day. This is a meter. That is, you know what that would be? That would be your, let's use that for large. Let's say this is large. So that would actually be a stride. What's a stride? Or your arm span, actually, you could also use. So that would be meter. So if I'm striding or strutting, right? Okay, I have a small stride. I'm really trying to stretch my stride to be a meter, right? That's a stride. Some of you have longer legs, so it's a little bit more accurate. Oh, I did burpees. Okay, what else could be medium? We didn't mention. Your foot. Your forearm would be this kind of the same as your foot, right? Your foot or your forearm. And what measurement is that? A foot. So convenient, hey? Okay. Let's talk about the different systems. The Imperial System. Let's take a poll. Who thinks Imperial is superior over metric? Okay. Okay. Who likes metric better? Okay. So let's talk about the benefits and what are the differences. So what is imperial? So imperial is inches, miles, pounds, quarts. Okay, that is imperial system. In fact, it used to be our system in Canada. It used to be a system in many places, but it's so random, right? 12 inches is a foot. 3 feet is a yard. 1,760 yards is a mile. Like, it's all random. How difficult to convert. Whereas metric, everything is base 10. So easy to convert. And in fact, except for US, everyone else in the world has adopted metric as their official system in their country. So, but we still are in home life, we still use it a lot, and because our neighbors to the south use it, we need to be familiar with it. And in construction, we still use it a lot. But if you have to convert, metric is so much easier. So metric, give me some example of metric units. Centimeters. What else? Kilograms. Meters. Kilometers. Grams. Liters. Yeah, our base units are liters, grams, and meters. The base unit. 3 base units. Milliliters. Yeah, so milliliters would be with base unit liter. So much easier. Okay, so we're going to do a little activity. Well, we're going to actually, yeah, let's go through this. Some of these you know already. So which ones do you already know for reference? You know, do you know what inches, what you'd use for an inch for a reference? Your thumb. This portion of it, take your ruler and measure this portion of your thumb right here that's bent. It's kind of like your knuckle to your, maybe a little less than that. Some of you, that's not the, some of you, if that's too big, actually try the thickness of your thumb. Is that, no, still too small? Okay, so it's just a reference. Your finger's better? Mine's almost. Okay, so your thumb. Okay, take your ruler and measure your foot. Is it a good reference for a foot? Or you can measure your forearm if you don't want to measure your shoe. Who here is like a perfect, with their shoe on, foot? You're pretty close, Lewis. Do you want a new one? Micah? Did you break this? Oh yeah, you're great. You are the foot. You are the classroom foot. Okay. You're pretty close, Matt. That's like almost exact, eh? What size of feet do you have? 13? Okay. So, for some of us, ladies, a lot of the ladies maybe some of the guys too, the foot is not the greatest reference for us, but for others, it's great. Like Matt over there, it was almost perfect. 2. And Josh's was like almost identical. Like identical. Yeah, it was exactly. So it might be the make of your shoe, right? Because your shoe, it depends on the shoe you're wearing. Yards. Okay, what would be a yard? How do we estimate a yard? Where's my yardstick? Your arm span. Half of an arm span. Okay, my arm span, I am short. Anyone else want to try this? Okay. Anyone have long arms? Okay. Let's see, anyone better? Josh. Josh might be our perfect referent, hey? Bang. Josh, the foot was bang on, the yard was bang on. That's awesome. Okay, so half your arm span. Also, you could use a stride. Okay, everyone knows what a stride is? Yeah. Okay, centimeters. This is easy. We already talked about this. Pinky, what would you use for a meter? Stride. Very similar to a yard. And a kilometer. 1,000 steps. Okay, so yes, you could say 1,000 steps. That could work. Yeah. Hey, you have it right there. That's cheating. Okay, so usually when we have very, very large distances, we use time. So if you're walking, you usually can walk a kilometer in 20 minutes. A slow walk. You might jog a jog in 10 minutes. No? That's slow? Really? Is you sure it's a kilometer? It's probably less than a kilometer. Maybe we should say walk in 15 minutes. Okay? But if you want to estimate distance, we often use time. So if I had to drive 3 hours on the highway, how far approximately am I going to drive? 300 kilometers, right? We use time for large distances. Okay. So I'd like you to fill this in, what you think would be the most appropriate metric unit, which also, metric is sometimes known as SI. Does anyone know what SI stands for? System International. Hey, see. Yeah, it's the same metric, System International, the same system. So I'll do one example with you. Your height. What would be a metric unit you would use your appropriate metric? Metric, what's metric? So centimeters, we often actually measure our height in centimeters. If you anyone here have their learner's license? Yeah, if you have your learners, on your learners, your height is in centimeters. Your weight is in kilo. Yeah, pull it out. You can check it out. Why don't we measure in feet? Because the government, our official system is metric. Your weight will be in kilograms, right? How many centimeters are you?
168.
Speak into the mic.
168.
168 centimeters.
169 centimeters.
Want to say it? 169? 170. 170. Okay, and then it gives your weight in kilograms. On your lice. Why? Because that's our official system. Sorry. Didn't mean to hurt you. Okay. What do we measure our height in imperial? Feet. Okay, feet and inches. It's actually feet and inches. Okay, just so you know, miles abbreviates to MI, meters just to M. Right? We don't want to confuse the two. So can you fill in the rest of this chart? What do you think? We'll go over it in a second. What do I mean by a wallet photograph? You know those little ones that go in the wallet? So what would you use to measure that? Which unit, metric unit, would you use to measure a little centimeters? And inches if it was imperial. Right. Are we just going to go through these together? Okay. The distance between towns. What would you... Kilometers is metric. Miles is imperial. The length of a driveway. You can use meters, yards, or feet. I'll accept either. Why would I say yards or feet? Well, feet... Well, yeah. It's like only 3-to-1 ratio. So... often in construction, they just use feet, even if it's a large number of feet. A computer screen. Centimeters and inches for imperial. The thickness of a book. You could use centimeters or, depending on how thin, millimeters. Decimeters. Sorry? Depends on your book, right? Yeah. Okay. Imperial, what would you use? What's the smallest unit they have in imperial? An inch. The inch is the smallest unit. What's the problem with the inch being the smallest unit? You get crazy fractions. So if you're going to work in construction, you better get good at your fractions because you'll need them. All right. I'd like you to do me a favor. Let's look at the next page. We're going to skip that part and turn to we're actually going to show you a comic first. We pull this off, we'll eat like kings. And then, ha ha ha, Biff, guess what? After I go to the drugstore and the post office, I'm going to the vets to get tutored. He's not getting tutored. He's gonna get neutered. Okay, I'm going to the vets to get tutored. What rhymes with tutor that you get neutered? Okay. All right. Oh, that's racist. Okay, so a newspaper, actually don't need our rulers just yet. You can keep them down on your desk. A newspaper reported the following measurements in different stores. So we actually turn the page and we're going to skip over to page 5 now. We're going to come back to that later. We're going to come back to it later. Oh, Deca. Yeah. All right. So here we have a newspaper reported the following measurements in different stories. The distance from Earth to the Moon is 38,440,300,000 centimeters. And a worm measures 0.0019 meters. Okay. It says, for each, state a more appropriate unit. Explain your choice. So what's a more appropriate unit? Listen up. Don't be cocky. Stay with us, okay? That's not going to help you. It's a more appropriate unit for the distance to the moon. Instead of centimeters, what would be more appropriate? Kilometers, yeah. That's how we actually describe the distance to the moon. It's in kilometers. Okay, now this for a worm. Instead of meters, centimeters or maybe even millimeters, it's a pretty small worm. We could try centimeters and then see if it's good. But what? The dot? Oh, it's a period, yeah. Sorry. Okay, now before we convert, let's review this scale here. Okay, have you seen that metric scale before? No? Shh, guys, there's a lot of chatting going on. So what's the first one? Okay, kilometer. The next one? Hectometer. You get hecta. Hectometer. Okay, the next one. Yeah. Decameter. Oh no. Okay. Meter. What's the DM? Deca. We're gonna write that down in a second. Deca. Okay. So I'll just hand around. This is what we'll do. I'm gonna hand out these formula sheets, and then I'll hand around the hole punch because they're flipped in different directions. So this is yours to keep. Okay, guys. Are you hot? Maddie? Are you hot? You want me to turn on the AC again? Deca is DAM. No, Deci is DM. Deci. Sorry. 4, 5, 6. Okay, sorry. It's coming. Okay, you're just going to have an extra here. I just can't get it over. Okay, so this blue sheet that you're getting right now, I'm just going to pause the recording. Sorry, So underneath meters, you can write liters and grams as well. Liters and grams. Okay, because those are the base, that's the base unit. Either your notes or on the formula sheet, doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure it's a small L. Is it big L? Small G, big L. Okay. Go big or go home. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, you might want to use, like I use a mnemonic to memorize this scale. Do you know what a mnemonic is? King Henry's daughter Mary died chasing men. Have you heard, any of you heard that before? Okay. Okay. Chasing men. Chasing. No, King Henry's daughter. King Henry's daughter, Mary is her name, died chasing men. Okay. Okay. So let's write this here. This is a kilo. A kilo. So you can have, guys, shh. Yes. Deca, yeah. So, okay, so a kilo, you can have a kilometer, you can have a kiloliter, or you can have a kilogram, right? So that's a kilo. Then H, the hectometer, you can have a hectoliter or hectogram. Oops, H. I thought it was, I know it doesn't. It's okay. Which ones are confusing? The L's? Okay, DAM is deca. Deca. So you can have a decaliter or a decagram. Okay, so notice your base unit is always in the center. There's no other letters in front of it. These are our base unit. HL. These are H's, sorry. Base unit. An H. Yeah, an H. What? 100 of it. It's an H. 100 hectometers is a meter. No, 100 meters is a hectometer. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yes. I have 2 zeros. You wouldn't. You would have it with another unit. Like, so a hectometer, each one of these is 10 times more than the other, right? So that's the great thing about the metric scale. You should be familiar, guys, with this. This is review. So every time we move to the right, to a smaller unit, it's 10 times bigger. So you could say a decimeter is 10 times larger, like the number. Well, actually, a meter is 10 times larger than a decimeter. You have 10 decimeters in a meter. Okay? If you're comparing a meter to a centimeter, because it's 10 times 10, 100 centimeters is a meter. Everything is base 10. Every time we move up the scale, if you're moving to the if you're taking our unit and you're moving to the left, you're going to divide by 10. If you're taking and you're moving your unit to the right, you're going to times by 10 for each jump. Okay, sorry. You're going from 1 kilometer to meters. So if the number, when you go from a big unit to a small unit, the number gets bigger. Okay? Now let's finish this off quickly. What's a DM? Deci. All of these ones end in an I. So deci, then we have centi and milli. So you know about the milliliter. There's milligrams, centiliter, centigrams, deciliter, decagrams. Now obviously we often just stick to the base unit. The millis and the kilos are the most common ones. Okay? So now we want to convert. So if I want to convert, so how do we convert? I'm going to give you an example. So let's write down that number that's above, the 338 billion number. Okay? We want to convert that to kilometers, to a more appropriate unit. So the easiest way to do this is moving the decimal place. Yes. Like, okay, I'm going to show you. I think it's all really relatively the same. We're talking about the same thing. So here's the thing. I'm at centimeters, and I want to go to kilometers, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, which is what you just said. Okay, right? It's 5. You're moving 5 to the left. And so you're doing the same thing. You're moving 5 to the left. Because it's a magic pen. Okay, so now if we move 5 to the left, what's our new number? And kilometers. Right? So it's really easy. Just moving your decimal place is the easiest way. So if we're converting 0.0019 meters to millimeters. Okay? So we're starting at meters, and I want to go to millimeters. How many jumps? 3 to what direction? To the right. So we're going to take our decimal and go 3 to the right. Okay, 1.9 millimeters. It's like, make it. Maybe it's this thickness. I don't know. It must be its thickness. It has to be its thickness. Yeah. Okay, so what I want you to do, can you do that? Should we do another example? Okay, can you try numbers 1 through 8, please? Right now. Numbers 1 through 8. So here we have 30 kilometers. So I look at the unit I have. I have kilometers, so I'm starting off right there. Okay? And I want meters. So to get there, I'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, backtrack, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's where meters is. So we're going 3 to the right. We're starting at kilometers, and we want to go to the meter. That's where the meter is. So that's 3 to the right. Okay? So since I moved 3 to the right, we add 3 zeros. Because when you start with 30 and your decimal place is right here, if I move 3 to the right, you're going to add zeros in those spots. Okay, so 30,000 meters. So if the decimal place is not shown, it's after the last zero or last number, right? So this guy, you're at centimeters, you're going to kilometers. So this time, you're at centimeters, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. And so we're going to take our decimal and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So 0 decimal 42307 kilometers. Got it? So centimeters to millimeters. Centimeters is 1 to the right. So then 1 to the right is 27 millimeters. Okay, what's DIM called? Decameters. So 40.7 decameters. To get to kilo, we want 2 to the left. So 2 to the left, 0.407. Okay. Meters to millimeters. So meters here, millimeters here is 3 jumps to the right. 1, 2, 3, add a 0 there. 5,210. Okay. No, you got something different? Okay. Because the decimal was here. Okay. Kilometers to hectometers. What does that give you? What did you get? Guys, there's a lot of talking going on. It shouldn't be going on. But 3.15. Is that what you guys got? Agreed? Okay. hecta to deci, 1, 2, 3 to the right would give you 4,700. And this should be 3.085 meters. Okay, yay. 100%. Okay, so with your rulers, can you please do me a favor? I'd like you to draw a line on your page, anywhere on your page. So you should be on page 7, no. Oh yeah, there it is. No, yeah. Page 5. Page 5, yep. So on page 5, we skipped one, that's why. Oh, it went a different... Oh, okay, well, we're going back to 5 now. Can you please draw a line that is 1 inches in length? So a line that's 1 inches in length. Anywhere on your page, and then a line that's 1 centimeters in length. Sure, doesn't really matter. Anywhere you want. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. 4th block on a Friday, that's usually what happens, is our boats sink. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to measure our inch in centimeters. So I want you to take your inch line and measure approximately how many centimeters that is. 2.5, approximately. Now this little dot here above an equal sign means approximately equal to, because we're rounding, we're estimating. It's not an exact. So about 2.5. It's actually 2.54 to be exact. But if we're estimating, 2.5. So 2 inches is about 5 centimeters. Okay? Now, I would like you to take your centimeter. We're going to measure in inches. Now, how many little lines here between 0 and 1? Let's count. How many little dashes do you count? So count all the little dashes between 0 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All sizes. We're counting these little ticks. All of these ticks. Oh, you have 8s? Do you want a new ruler? Where are the rulers? Yes. So if you only have 8s and your ruler's not as cool, then these ones. You want these clear ones? No, you have 16s. Yeah, you have this one, right? Inside plus the 1 is 16. Yeah. You need a new one or no? Okay. So, including the 1 is 16 because 16 out of 16 equals 1. So, in inches, this is the smallest unit, so we have to use fractions. The easiest is to count how many ticks when you measure and put it out of 16. If I count 4 16ths, I would just reduce my fraction to what? 4 16ths, 2 8ths, or a quarter of an inch. Okay, it's the easiest way to measure inches. If you're not familiar with inches, it's the easiest way. If you're familiar, you'll know how to read the ticks. The longest one is a half of an inch. The second longest, those are quarters. The third smaller or largest is an eighth. Like they're based on their size. This is a half of an inch, right? The longest line here. This would be a quarter, 3/4. And then these ones in between are eighths. So the easiest way is to go with the 16ths. So I want you to take your centimeter and measure how many 16ths that is. So count the number of ticks. How many ticks are there? So it should be 6 16ths. You should count 6 of them, about. You get 6? 6. No, the little ticks here. So you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there ends at 6. So that's 6 16ths. Okay, an inch. So these You're counting how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 6, 6 sixteenths. Okay? So if it's 6 sixteenths, what does that reduce to? So about 3/8 of an inch. Okay? Or approximately 0.4. Okay, so we're counting those little ticks on the inch. So when you measure this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These little ones. 1, 2. Okay? Where's your line that you drew? Okay, so you're counting these little ticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
16ths. Okay? All right, now grab your rulers in front of you. How big are these? A foot. 1 foot, how many centimeters? About 30 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because I want to get going. I have a yardstick here and a meter stick. You'll notice they're pretty close to each other. When it's lined up properly, it's 91 centimeters is equal to a yard. Okay, so 91 centimeters or 0.91 meters, about. It's an estimate. If you look on your formula sheet, it's actually 0.9144 to be exact. Okay. In a mile, how many kilometers are in a mile? You'll notice if you run. Approximately 1.6 kilometers. So that's 1,600 meters. Your dad does, yeah. I've seen him on the trails. Yeah, in St. Albert. Yeah. I think in St. Albert, yeah, I think I've seen him before. No, maybe not in St. Albert. Somewhere, I have seen your dad before. Okay, meters in an inch. Meters and inches. So in a meter stick, here's one. Chikuka, how many inches do you see? How does it go up to? So about 39 inches. So a meter is about basically 3 feet and 3 inches. Because a yardstick is 3 feet, right? In a yard are 3 feet, and that's 36, and it's 39, so about 3 more inches left over. So, or it's 1 yard, 0 feet, and 3 inches, you can also think of it as. So it's a yard. A meter is 1 yard plus 3 inches. This one, to the right? Where 39 is? That's an inch. Yeah, it's an inch. Okay. Kilometer is about 1,100 yards. A kilometer is about 1,100 yards. Remember, yards are smaller than meters, so you need more of them. Guys, you are getting a seating plan on Tuesday. We're mixing it up. Like, you keep talking to your lesson that's off topic. Kilometer to a mile. About 0.6 miles in a kilometer. Okay. So notice, let's go to the second question first. What conversion produces a bigger number? So when I went from mile to meter, it gave me a bigger number. Was I going for a small unit to a big unit or a big unit to a small unit? Yeah. So if we're going from big to small, it's going to give us a bigger number. So big unit to small unit will produce a bigger number. So what would give us a smaller unit then? A smaller number? Small unit to big unit. Okay, so I'm not going to write down the mnemonic device because you have it on your formula sheet, right? You don't need to memorize King Henry's daughter Mary died chasing men. You have that metric scale on your formula sheet. You don't need to memorize that. You should probably know it. It's good to know, but for this course, it's actually on your formula sheet. So we're going to move on. I feel like everything got mixed up. Okay, so everything got mixed up. My pages got mixed up. That's weird. So what's on your next page? Am I on the right page? Okay. What was on? Yeah, I skipped 4 for sure. We're going to come back to 4. Okay. This, have you heard of like IB and AP in other schools? Advanced Placement, Internet, and bachelorette, whatever. So, if you're in a course like that, this would be tested on. Well, I'm just going to talk about really briefly. Because we're not an IB course, I'm not going to exam you on this. So this part is anything that's a square to square conversion or cube to cube conversion in your homework is beyond the curriculum. Okay? So it's optional in your homework. Okay? I might throw a bonus question on your unit test with it, maybe for fun. I don't know. Let me just explain something to you. I'm going to write down our scale really quickly so we have it. King, you might want to write it down too. Henry's daughter, Mary, died chasing men. Okay? So what happens is when we're converting, say from a meter squared to a centimeter squared. I'm going to go add a new page for a sec. I'll go back to this in a second. Well, if you have 1 meter squared, what would likely be the dimensions of this shape? 1 by 1. A 1 meter is by 1 meter. Okay? So if we want to change this to centimeters squared. So how many centimeters squared is that? Well, we actually can do the conversions for the dimensions. So this would actually be, if this is 1 meter, how many centimeters here? 100 centimeters are in a meter by 100 centimeters are in a meter. So what would be the area of this shape? 10,000 centimeters squared. So remember how 1 meter is 100 centimeters? Well, 1 meter squared is 10,000 centimeters squared. We have to do that conversion twice because we have 2 centimeters. We're going from 2 meters, a meter times a meter, to a centimeter times a centimeter. So when we do this conversion here, if it's a square, we're just going to double the conversion. What do I mean by that? If I'm going from centimeters to meters, I usually would go 2 to the left. So instead, I'm going to have to do that twice. So 4 to the left, 2 to the left twice. So 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, add a decimal, be that many meters squared. Because you have to count for each dimension you have to do the conversion for. So if you're going from centimeters to meters, again, normally it was 2 to the left, now we're going to do 4 to the left. 4 to the left gives you 4.2. You double it. Yeah, you double your conversion. So if you normally do 3 to the left, you're going to do 6 to the left because you have to do it twice. So a centimeter squared to a millimeter squared, instead of going 1 to the right, we're going to go 2 to the right, which gives you what? 270. Easy. Okay, what would we do if it's cubed? Well, a cube has 3 dimensions now. Do it 3 times. Triple it. So, for example, let's change this guy to centimeters cubed, because that would make sense otherwise. If I'm going from meters cubed to centimeters cubed, usually a meter to a centimeter is 2 to the right. So now what would it be? 6, because we have to do it 3 times. 2 to the right is 3 times. Is we're going to move it 6 times to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Add our zeros. So 350,000 centimeters cubed is equivalent to 0.35 meters cubed. Okay? So that, when you come across questions like this in your homework, they're completely optional. They're not mandatory. Any squared conversions or cube conversions, you don't have to do. Okay? They're not going to be tested on. Okay? No. It's a long lesson today, and we'll do some more activity stuff on Tuesday. It's over at 320. I'll put up a schedule for you guys on the board so that you can know. All right, so these here are imperial ratios of 1. So they're ratios of 1. So 12 inches is 1 foot. You should know that or learn it now. Some of you have never really worked with imperial before, so I guess you really wouldn't know. So that's something you want to get familiar with. 12 inches is 1 foot. If you don't know, it's on your formula sheet. 1 yard is 3 feet or 36 inches. And 1 mile is 1,760 yards or 5,280 feet. Do you see why these are random and metric is so much easier? Yes. Okay, so we're going to skip down to some examples. Over here. Page 8. Page 8. Okay? Now these are what ratios of 1. Okay? So why is 1 foot over 12 inches a ratio of 1? Because they equal each other. Yeah, they're equivalent to each other. And anything divided by something that's the same as is equal to 1. So these are ratios of 1. They're equivalent ratios. So I'm going to show you a method that you're going to use in Science 10. You're going to use Physics 20. And so you're going to get used to it. And we use it whenever imperial is involved. So any imperial conversion, whether it be imperial to metric, or metric to imperial, or imperial to imperial, we're going to use this method. So anytime imperial is involved. So what we do is we start with writing what we have. We have 4 feet, and I want to convert it to inches. What we're going to do is we're going to multiply it by a ratio of 1. So how we set it up is the unit that you have, you're given, is going to go on the denominator. Okay, so this is where the given unit goes. The reason why it goes on the denominator, well, the 4 feet is on the numerator. This is going to be on the denominator. The units of feet are going to cancel out because you have 1 on top and 1 on the bottom. What we're looking for, the inch, goes on top. I keep losing markers. There it is. Inch. Okay, so that is your desired unit. We have to fill it in, so it's actually a ratio of 1. So what's the ratio for inch and feet? 12 inches is 1 foot. And so now we can multiply by our ratio of 1, and we're going to be left with the unit of inches, because feet cancels out. 4 times 12, what's that? 48. And if you really want to just use your new calculator. Oh, I impressed you. That novelty will wear away very fast. Okay. No, except for you can't, it's not secure for diplomas or exams. So we've talked about that. 48. Some of yours will look a little different. The fish thing? 4 times 12. We're just doing 4 times 12, right? Fish way. I don't know. No. Okay, the slash is a division symbol, guys. Whenever you push division, that's a slash. Okay. Okay, so 4 times 12 divided by 1. Do you actually have to type divided by 1? No. But if you're worried or nervous, just type it all in, what you see. Okay, so 48 inches. Let's try another one. Okay. Bracket. Why are you doing brackets, guys? Oh, fractions? I'll teach you that when you need to learn it. I promise you. Yeah. Okay, so what unit's going to go in the denominator? Yard. Get what you're given, and the numerator, desired. Desired. Okay, so what's the ratio for feet and yards? If you're not sure, look it up on your blue formula sheet. 1 what? Yard for every 3 feet. So that equals what? 12 feet. Number 4, 14 miles. Okay, now, what are we given? Start with what you're given. Miles. What's desired? Inches. When you look on your formula sheet, is there a mile to inch conversion? No. Then from there, did it to... Yeah, so you'll notice on your sheet, you could either go to yards. Did I make up that joke in here? No, it's last box. What's a pirate's favorite unit? Yards. Okay. So we can either go to yards or we can go to feet because there is no mile to inch conversion on your sheet. So where do we look? At first column. Very first column. The first bullet. It's on there. Okay? So do you want to do feet or yards? Yards. Okay, we're going to do yards because I like saying yards. And you can do feet too. It's all, whatever you want. I'm going to show you 2 methods. One is to do it all in 1 step. Another is to do it in 2 steps. I'll show you both. Okay, so filling in. In 1 mile, how many yards are there? 60 or 80? 60. I'm thinking of the 5,000. Okay, so we type that into our calculator. Notice the miles will cancel. We're going to be left with yards. Okay, it's so bad. So bad, it's funny. Okay, 24,640 yards. Okay, now what are you going to do with that yard? Convert it into inches. So we're going to do another conversion. So we want inches now, we have yards. Yep. But you're going from miles. Oh yeah. You could do that twice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I know that there's 36 inches in 1 yard. So multiply by 36. So you'd be multiplying, not dividing though. Yeah. So times 36. And that gives us 887,040. It's better than being boiling hot. Okay, I'm going to show you one more method really quickly. We can do this all in 1 step instead of 2 separate steps. So what we would do is set it up the same way. I'll show you using Julia, right? I always want to think Julia, not Julie. Okay, Julia's method with feet. So I'm going to use feet instead. So I have miles, and I'm going to convert to feet. And for every 1 mile, there are 5,280 feet. Okay, but I'm not done there. I notice my miles are canceled out. And I'm going to multiply by another ratio of 1. This is another way you could solve this. So you could actually put these ratios all in 1 step. So feet on the bottom, because that's what I have right now. And I want inches. And there are 12 inches in a foot. The feet will cancel, and we're going to be left with inches. So you could actually type this in all at once. You're welcome to use this method. And this is how you'll do it in physics. 14 times 5,280, you can type divided by 1 if you want, times 12 over 1. Same thing. Okay, so you don't have to do them as separate conversions. You could also do them all at once. I like it. Okay. So at that, I would like you to try 2 questions from your homework right now. I'll explain homework in a second. Now, before I ask you to do some questions from your homework, can you listen up? Okay? The ones I've starred are optional. So these bottom ones are optional because they're squared units. On the next page, these are optional because they're squared units. So your homework is 9, 10, and 11. Can you please go to this page here? 9, 10, and 11. But it's actually not due to Wednesday. You're going to have some time in class on Tuesday. If you want to get a head start, you're welcome to try it on the weekend. You might want to do that. Okay? What I'd like you to do is on page 10, the bottom page 10, the ones that are starred. Can you try those 2? Right now? I'm pause it. So you would type it in as, where's the calculator? So 5,280 times 1 over 3. Or you can just divide by 3. What? So times 1 divided by 3. Use a division symbol. So there's not like a fraction button, you just actually make it a fraction by dividing. 1 divided by 3. Okay? I want to go through a couple of things with you. So you have access to School Zone, right? Yeah? I don't know if you have looked at School Zone, you should notice that at the top of your page, they don't get updated Tuesday, but actually if you sign on this event stuff, it's been showing up for people. Okay? So I have the calendar on there, and I have this link. If you click that link, and if you're working on your homework this weekend, in measurement, this very first document, we view it. If you're working through the homework and you're having troubles, the solutions are in there for the assignment. Okay, there's the notes, and some more notes, and then our assignment. Okay, so if you're struggling, the solutions are there. Okay, so your homework is going to be page 9, 10, and 11. Okay, but you'll have some time on Tuesday. However, if you want to get a head start and you want to practice, you have a long weekend, you can do that. All right? Questions? Yeah? Guys, I can't hear. Lewis. Shh. Yeah, those ones that are optional. Yeah, except for those ones that are optional. Due on Wednesday, yeah. This last question, yeah, including page 11. So 9, 10, 11. Those questions too. Yeah?
So what happens if you don't do your homework?
Math club and spend your lunch hours with me.